Okay, I'm live. Let's check my audio. Hello, hello, hello. Audio? Oh, this tab is muted. Why is this tab muted? Okay, we're good. Is this tab muted also? No. How are we doing? It is muted. Okay. All right. Next up, we gotta hook up the chats. Okay, connect that. It's working. Custom game engine day one. With a bot. Down with the bot empire. Okay. Whoa. I didn't know I could do that. Uh-oh. Oh, no, wrong. Something like that. Does that work? Ooh, it's a little small. I'll just... I can just drag it. There we go. That's good enough. Well, hello. Welcome back. How's it going? Engine programming, are we? Yeah, you've missed some stuff. Started working on a friend slop game. Okay, cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, so last week I had someone hop into the chat and said, when are you going to make, like, when are you going to do video game development in Win32 and C? And I was like, do I know you? Like, how, how are you reading my mind? Turns out I don't know them. It's just some random person that wanted to hear about Win32 development in C. But yeah, lucky for them. I don't know if they're going to show up today, but yeah, it turns out I was already working on that behind the scenes, kind of just for fun. I like to learn how things work. And so I'm already 25 days into Handmade Hero, which I don't know if you've heard of that, but you should hear about it. It's amazing. Oh, I forgot to start recording. But yeah, you got to tell me about this friend slop game. Handmade Hero. Okay. Yeah, I got to link it. That's what I should do first. Ooh, here's another thing we could do. Engine coding is so rewarding. I agree. I'm having a ton of fun doing it. Yep, I'm going to be a Handmade Hero evangelist for a sec. All right, so Handmade Hero is a series by Casey Muratori. He's the computer enhanced guy. He's all about performant code. Software sucks. Let's make it better. He's a friend of Jonathan Blow. Anyway, he made this series. I've only just gotten past Godot networking, so I haven't gotten to the game design. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, he starts out doing an introduction to C on Windows, which is extremely good. If you want to learn C, this is actually a pretty great place to start. It's like purpose-built C, right? Like that's the problem with like going to school. Sorry, I don't want to start dogging on school because I loved my college degree, but like a big thing that was hard for me going to school was that, you know about him, you tend to disagree with him a lot. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think that's a problem. But anyway, yeah, the problem with going to school and getting a degree in CS is it's like a lot of theoretical stuff, right? It's a lot of, you learn how to do things, not how to use it, I guess. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well, but like basically this course in C is directly related to Windows development for games. And so you're learning specifically those skills, which I think is actually really nice. So anyway, he's got almost 700 days worth of content, an hour per day, building a game engine from scratch with the Windows API layer as the base layer. And it's been a lot of fun. So I want to show off real quick the engine. Yeah, you learn the concept but not the tools, exactly, right? Like I learned C++ in school, but it took Casey to show me that this exists. This include windows.h. I had never heard of this before. Right? I went through a whole degree and didn't know that there was a windows.h. And like x input.h, get controller input. Well, only Xbox controllers. I'm going to change that. In fact, do full controller support at some point. Do I need this? I probably need that. Okay. So, yeah, here's a little intro into what you learn in Handmade Hero. So you start with WinMain. And this is something that, like, again, I had no idea that this existed. But basically, like, instead of, you know, int main char, no, it's int argc char ** argv. Is that right? Instead of this, you've got a Win main. That comes from the Windows API, and that's an entry point for your app. It gives Windows information instead of generic C information. I believe you actually can use int main with a Windows platform layer, but you would have to adapt it inside to use all these Windows calls. So the first thing you learn after Win main is how to create a window. And so basically you create this wind class A. This is also from the Windows API. One sec. So you create this window class, and the key part here was that you have to set this procedure, which is a callback, which I'll get into next. But yeah, then you do this, you register your window class, and then you create the window, passing in the class name, which is this right up here. So real quick, I'll just run that. I can't remember the state it's in. There's definitely, like, this is all like a debug window. If I want to be able to support both Windows and Linux, for example, I would have to have a branch inside the regular int main. Yeah, so I'm going to go over that in a sec. Basically, the way that he has you set up your project, I actually really like, which is that you would have it set up like this. So Win main is the Windows platform layer. Mac OS main is my Mac platform layer, which I've been working on a little bit. It's actually not up to date on this branch. So if I go into here, yeah, there's nothing in here. But I have it on my Mac that I've been working on. And then what you do is you actually load, like, this is crazy. I don't know if you've ever seen something like this, but you obviously can include the header file, that's fine. But what you do is you load the game code in as a DLL. And so I have this Handmade DLL because I'm following Handmade Hero, so I just called it the same thing he did. It's basically just building this C++ file, right? Let's see. Yeah, so yeah, the first time I did that, it blew my mind. Yeah, so you just create a DLL for this file, and then you can load it in. And then the next thing that you do is you can check every time through your loop. So let's find my loop. Where's my game loop? Down here. So you load the game code before the game starts. And then every time through the loop, you can say, did it change? Did it change? Did it change? And then you can unload the game code and reload it. And so, for example, I can go to, let's see, render player, and I can change the player to white. The player is that little black square, by the way. This is a bunch of pretty much nonsense code, but then I build it again, and boom, it instantly updates. Right? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I've already got hot reloading. Now it's red. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'm like pretty excited about this. Like, it's gonna make development way easier to do it this way, to build your engine this way. And it like totally opens my mind to the possibilities, right? I'm going to probably be making an A sprite loader like an Sprite asset loader using the same tech, where I'll check if the Sprite files have changed and then load them in. And so that like while I'm developing, I can just like hot reload all my assets to see what they look like in game, instead of having to wait for like the full asset to be done. Stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that that's probably the best intro to the course that I can give. And the next thing to do is to figure out what to work on next, because basically here, I'm going to get back. Oh, where'd it go? I put it over here. So, oh, whoops. So Handmade Hero, like I said, it's like almost 600 or 700 days worth of content. But I am not going to do that. I'm not going to like copy his game verbatim. Here, let me do this so that I can't see the chat still. Whatever. Like, I'm obviously not going to make the same game he's making. Day 25 is the day that I've finished. That's where he finishes the Windows platform layer. Or at least kind of. Like, he finishes, he calls it the prototyping layer, right? So that's like as far as he wanted to go before he started working on his game. And so he starts making his game on this day. And then every once in a while, like if you scroll through these, like every once in a while, you'll see like a Windows thing that he has to go back and he has to change the platform layer. Apparently not that frequently. Let's see. I'm sure I'll be able to find one. Yeah, hundreds of days. Let's see. There we go. New platform file API, Win32 file API implementation, finding asset files within 32. Like, so he does go back and work on the platform layer every once in a while. And so what I can do is I can just jump to those if I need to learn what he's teaching me. And, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm on my own, right? Because I actually want to make my game super multi-platform. I don't want to make it just for Windows. As you saw with, I've got the Mac OS main going. I've actually got, I'll have to try to show that off at some point. I don't have a capture card, or else I would. But I've actually made a decent amount of progress on the Mac OS version. I actually already have the hot reloading done in Mac OS. They use these things called dilibs instead of DLL. I've got the rendering done, so it shows the exact same thing on Mac as it does on Windows, which is amazing. I got basic controller support. I didn't go too far into it. Although technically it's better than my Windows platform layer on the controller support right now. So anyway, yeah, I've got to decide what to work on next, and I've got a few ideas. All right, let's pull this over. I think I'm good. I'm not completely good, but we'll just do like this. So here are some of the ideas. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna Krita it. We're gonna draw. As a good tech streamer, you gotta be able to draw. You know what I mean? All right. So first idea, no particular order. We'll do bullet points. I want to work on a Vulkan renderer. There's a few reasons for this. So, okay, I'm going to do Vulkan. That's good. Yeah, I know. But here's what I've heard, right? So I've got some reasons. So first, I want to do, like, I'm going to need a graphics API anyway. Took 2 weeks to draw a triangle. Yeah. Need a graphics API anyway. Right? 2. Vulkan is supported by a good number of the platforms that I want to develop for. It's supported by Windows, Mac with an asterisk, and Switch, as well as iOS and Android. If the streamer doesn't write in WinPaint, I can't comprehend the message. Yes, exactly. You get it. Except for I use Krita. I guess I could use Paint. Let's see. Okay, I do have Paint. I couldn't remember if it got replaced or not. All right, so that's a big reason right there. Here's another reason. I have heard, so I was told by one person, so you know, probably the worst type of advice. I was told that OpenGL is easier, but that going from OpenGL to Vulkan is so difficult that you might as well just learn Vulkan first. That is what I've been told. And so, and you know what? Like OpenGL, like apparently the last time it was updated, it was in like 2017 or something. It's not Kronos's current project. Their current project is Vulkan. OpenGL is much easier, but I did the same thing. Skip to Vulkan immediately. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think I might as well just rip the Band-Aid off. I like another big part of this project, right? So I'm gonna put a little side goal over here. So why am I doing this project? The first part, OpenGL, is definitely the legacy option, but good idea to add support for it in post. Yeah, maybe, because it would support like older devices. Here's the other thing though, right? Like I'm gonna need to, so for this is the, well no, DirectX is not pointless, unfortunately. So that's exactly what I was getting at. DirectX is not pointless because it supports more Windows platforms. Technically, I actually don't really care about this. What I care about is that Xbox needs it. So I'm going to have to do DirectX anyway. I don't know if I'm going to make the Windows layer have DirectX or not. But yeah, eventually I'm going to have to do that because I do want it on Xbox. Especially because Xbox has a handheld coming out and I want my game to be a portable game. Yeah, it needs DirectX. I gotta find this, shoot, I should have saved the file, the website. One sec, let me find this website. It's graphics APIs by platform, this thing. So these are each graphics platform and which platforms they run on. Xbox is only DirectX stuff. So Direct 3D 11 and 12. So it'll probably be 12. I'll probably do DirectX 12, right? Because I want to target these Xboxes. Similarly, I'm going to have to do a PlayStation thing. Which is quite lame. What is this website? Yeah, here, let's post this. Boop-a-doop. This is a good one. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely getting a lot of my information here. Like for example, Vulkan is supported on Mac OS and iOS with the asterisk, right? And the asterisk is that it has no first-party support. A subset is provided by Molten VK. And then if you look up Molten VK, it actually isn't third-party, by the way. This is Kronos Group, but it's what's called. What is it called? Give me a sec. It's called something special. It's called a portability initiative. So the goal is for Vulkan to have a library like this for every platform layer eventually. So that's another reason why I kind of want to skip to Vulkan, is because they've already made it for Mac OS and iOS. I'm pretty sure their goal is to make one for DirectX next. So that definitely, I'll start with Vulkan. If they make the portability initiative for DirectX next, then I don't have to do DirectX. I can just keep using Vulkan with the little portability layer in between. So that's some research that I did. But yeah, let's get back to why I'm doing this, because that's important. So one is I need to know. I need to know. Something in me just needs to know how things work. I love this stuff. So here's my history. I was 9 years old. My parents didn't let us have video games at the beginning. But I was 9 years old. We went and we played at some friend's house. At some friend's house. Wow. Hang on. At a friend's house. And this was like my parents' college friends. So like we don't see them very often. Anyway, they sent the kids down to the basement to play. And while they talked upstairs, we played Mario Kart Double Dash for like 3 hours. And it was the most fun I'd ever had. And I was blown away. I said, how is it that people are making this? Right? Because this was like essentially my foray into video games. Like, yes, I had played video games before this, but like nothing this good. And honestly, like Double Dash, goated game, right? So anyway, basically since then, I was like, I want to be the one making those. And let me tell you, it's actually kind of hard to figure this out on your own. I know that like it's easier nowadays, which is probably why I'm actually able to do it now. But yeah, I mean, I had a college already picked out because it's the college that my parents went to, and they didn't really have a video game program or anything. So I just went the computer science route, which unlocked another need to know within me, which is how computers work. And so anyway, basically the story is I wanted to know how on earth they made this. And the answer is custom engine. They weren't booting up Unity. They weren't booting up Godot. And like even Blender. They made it all themselves. And yeah, so I really look up to them. I really look up to, you know, all the greats, right? Like there's a million of them. You look at Minecraft. I'm a huge Minecraft fan. Custom engine. When I was 9, Germany got reunited and we had a C64. Yep. So that would have been 89. Yep, I was 9 in 2004. So there you go. That's our difference. Yeah, I know a little bit of German history. My mom was actually there. She was in Germany in '89. My mom lived there. My grandpa was in the Air Force, and so my mom was traveling with them. And anyway, kind of interesting. So yeah, this is the why. All right, the next thing. I don't actually, you know what? We're gonna write it like this. I want to be without fear when it comes to game development. I want to not be scared of any technology, any new technology, right? Because that just like stops you. It slows you down. And so that's kind of where I was going with all of this. Vulkan renderer, yeah, that's going to be hard. But I'm not scared. I know I can learn it. People have learned it. People have taught it. I can learn from them. All right, so this list, I think I started it as options of what I can work on right now. So let's keep going on that. Next, dot a sprite integration. Those are both good reasons to make your own engine. Thanks, I appreciate it. There's actually a million reasons. This list just keeps getting longer the more I get into this because I keep finding awesome reasons. One of them is performance, right? I actually really hate bloat. I hate bloat. And that's like the name of the game when it comes to game engines. Even Godot is somewhat bloated. You can strip it back, which I've done. It wasn't as rewarding as I'd hoped. But yeah, I mean, like just knowing exactly what your memory looks like. What mem looks like makes the game like work better, right? And so I don't know, I have a lot of reasons. And Casey's got even more reasons. Casey Muratori says, like, I don't know, actually, you know what? We're gonna find this video because it's like one of my favorite YouTube videos right now. I've got it in my playlists. Can I find it? Here it is. We're gonna watch this. Oh, I need to turn on my Chrome audio 1 sec. There we go.
You probably already answered this, but why start from scratch versus using an engine? Why reinvent the wheel?
That's going to be kind of quiet, isn't it? Can you hear it? Mojo reacts, yep. You can't hear him. How would I boost that?
You probably already answered this, but why start from scratch versus using an engine? Why?
Oh, also I've got my music on. Let me turn the music off. All right, how do I boost this? Properties. Nope. Let's do filters. Shoot, I don't know. I'm too new to this. Chrome audio. We're going to Google it real quick. Because, yeah, he talks kind of quiet in his videos. OBS increase volume over 100 or whatever. 0.0 dB. Add a gain filter. All right, let's do that. Aha. We'll go to like 10. If this blows up your eardrums, I'm sorry.
Reinvent the wheel? It's a good question. And the answer is twofold. One is
yeah, stream is going to have a delay. I'm sorry. 8 or 9 seconds. Yeah. Yep, sorry about that. All right, can you hear him now? One sec.
You probably already answered this, but why start from scratch versus using an engine? Why reinvent the wheel?
No, I want to make him loud enough. Sorry. Let's go filters, gain. We're going up to 20.
It's a good question. And the answer is twofold. One is because I think it's important for game developers who are...
What about now? Yeah, that's okay. All right. Perfect. We're going to start over.
You probably already answered this, but why start from scratch versus using an engine? Why reinvent the wheel? It's a good question. And the answer is twofold. One is because I think it's important for game developers who are going to be serious programmers to learn everything about how a game works. And if you start with an engine, then it basically changes what you're learning from the fundamental truth of how to implement a game to someone else's version of that. They have basically gone from what the actual game code actually does and put a big old giant layer in between you and that. So now what you're really learning is that engine. You haven't learned how to make games. You've learned how to make games in Unity.
All right, so I want to talk about this for a sec because I do agree and I disagree, right? So first off, there are a lot of transferable skills between game engines. And so he's not 100% correct there, right? Like I learned Unity first, and then when I moved over to Godot, a lot of the same concepts were there. Even if you make your own custom engine, you're going to be making a lot of the same things that an engine already does, right? But at the same time, like I totally agree that it's not 100% transferable, right? When you go from Unity to Godot, you're not like, oh yeah, I just create a game object and I do this and this and this. No, because that's a custom system. However, if you do go to like another company that has like if you work on a C++ game engine, and then you go to another company that works on another custom C++ game engine, you're going to know a lot of the same things. You're going to have, like any company, you're going to have to learn their what would you call it? Their like business code. But yeah, for the most part, things are transferable. So I agree to some amount, but not all the way. And that's actually not why I like this video. So we're going to keep going.
Right? And if Unity were to disappear, for example, you would no longer know how to make a game at all.
The comments on this video are really funny. Because they're like...
Not exaggerating this, that's just...
They're like, if Unity were to disappear, for example, you would no longer know how to make a game at all. This aged perfectly because people were writing these comments when Unity did their PR fail. And people were like jumping ship. So I thought that was funny. I think that to some degree he's correct, right? Like if all the game engines went away instantaneously, like a lot of game developers wouldn't know how to make games. And that is interesting to think about.
The truth. And so while there's nothing wrong with making games in engines, because that may be the most efficient way for you to make the thing that you want to make, I don't think you can have a complete game development education as a programmer without learning how everything works right down to the core principles that have been true for the past several decades. That's how a CPU runs a game.
So I think that's the part that I agree with the most, right? Is I'm a scholar of game dev. Like I want to learn. I don't like I also want to create, right? Like I am a builder. I like to create things. I love to play games, whatever, right? But at my core, like the thing I get the most excited about is learning new things about game development. And so I'm with him. Like that I think that that's maybe the core thing here is like I don't think everyone has to create a game engine. That's not what I'm saying, but I definitely have to. That's in me, right? I got to do it.
And so I think those are essential to learn, and I wanted to show them. So if people want to use engines, that's totally fine. But that is the opposite of what I'm trying to show here. I want to show how all that stuff works. And I want to give people the ability to make their own engine stuff as necessary as well. Because even if you go use an engine like Unreal or something to make a game, knowing how all of it works underneath makes you so much more powerful even in that engine. Because
yeah, so I agree with this point as well because I've run into this with Godot, right? Where, and I actually haven't released any of it, but I was looking into making a SQLite integration. And because I've learned C++ and some of the like engine code that he's talking about, I was able to understand Godot's GD extension and like write my own library for Godot using C++ SQLite. And yeah, so you definitely like learning how to make a game engine helps modify a commercial game engine.
now it means you don't just have to look at the docs and guess how the thing kind of is doing it. You know how the thing really works. And so you can go, oh, I know there must be a way for Unreal to do X, Y, Z because I know that's how the CPU works and I know it can do it. So let me go find how to do that or write my own plugin that can do that for me. And now you're so much more powerful. You don't have to be like hamstrung by the things that they allowed you to do in that sort of layer, right? So it's empowering, it's educational, that's all good. But the second thing I wanted to point out is saying reinvent the wheel is a very misleading statement. And it always...
All right. So his point is basically that if you do it yourself, then you tear open the black box. That's the first point. We're getting to his next point. But yeah, I think that that's an excellent way to look at it. And that's definitely how I'm looking at it. And yeah, I try to do this with any technology I work with, right? So professionally, I've done a lot of Android, but I've also done like Ruby on Rails. I've done Vue JavaScript. I've done Angular JavaScript. I've done TypeScript, some Python, some PHP. I've done it all, right? Okay, not at all, but you know, I've done a lot of app development. Anyway, every technology I look at, I try to figure out like what it's doing, how it works, why, like what are its advantages, and that's like super important to doing well with it. And so yeah, game development's no different.
It bothers me a little bit when people say things like why...
We're going to go back just a little bit.
And it always bothers me a little bit when people say things like, why reinvent the wheel? And the reason is because the wheel is an amazing invention. It is almost perfect, or even possibly perfect, for what it does. When you look at a wheel, it is the thing that perfectly turns dynamic friction into static friction for moving objects, right? It's something that is so elegant and beautiful that if you asked me why you would want to reinvent it, I would say, of course you don't want to reinvent the wheel. The wheel is amazing. It has worked for thousands of years. It has been unchanged for thousands of years. The concept is the same today as it was when they first made a wheel, probably, right? It does exactly the same stuff physically.
So there's some obvious holes in this, but I'm not going to get into it just yet. I want to let him finish the point.
Nothing we have developed in the past 30 years of game development is a wheel. We do not have a single
All right, we're gonna
wheel
listen to that again.
physically. Nothing we have developed in the past 30 years of game development is a wheel. We do not have a
I love that so much. Sorry, I'll just keep going.
single wheel. If you think Unity is a wheel or you think Unreal is a wheel, that is just, it's just plain short-sighted. Like, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. In the future, we will have so much more powerful tools for game development that they will make the engines we use today look like a joke. People will laugh at the things that we did to make games today. And the reason that I point that out is not to diss on those things, because they are the best engines we have today. So yes, if you need to use an engine, you want to use some of these things, right? But I want to point out the fact that if we want to get to a real wheel, that when you really do say to me, why would you reinvent the wheel? I would say, you shouldn't. Use the wheel. If we want to get to that wheel, we need people making new things that attempt to be a wheel. And you can't do that if all you know how to do is program stuff in Unreal or Unity, because that's all you get. That's the square wheel, right? That's kind of clunking around. And if all you're ever going to do is build cars on top of that, they're going to be lousy, right? Unless you're driving on a road that looks like this. So basically what I want to inspire to as part of this series, if I can, is I want people to look at this and go, hey, wait a minute. Low-level game programming is not that hard. I saw him do it. I saw how he did it. And I'm starting to understand this. I could go do this. And if they get into it and get excited about it, then they may be the people who make those next engines that allow a whole new wave of game development to happen. Just like Unity allowed so many more people to make games who didn't have that knowledge, who's going to be making those things of the future, right? And so that's why I think low-level programming is so important, is because we need lots of people with those talents and those skills to get us to the point where it really is silly to be working on it anymore. But we are so far from there, trust me.
So anyway, I mean, this has affected me deeply, right? I think that, yeah, everything you said resonates with me a lot. And so I love the point of nothing we have today is a wheel. I think that's amazing. And probably true. So the obvious hole in his argument is that the wheel was perfect when it was invented. That's obviously not true. In fact, I think NASA reinvented the wheel to some degree. Well, they reinvented the tire, I guess. If we're talking about like a normal machine, then I guess the wheel is the same. It's just a circle. But like an actual wheel has been iterated on. People are changing it all the time. But I guess the core functionality is still there. And it is like completely functional, which we don't have in game development. And so yeah, saying reinvent the wheel does seem a little bit silly when you put that in perspective. I love his point that if you like in the future, right? Because we do this, right? We look in the past and we say, oh my gosh, I can't believe they lived without the internet or whatever, right? Like you look at even 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and you're like, wow, life was so different. Their technology was so primitive. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there. But like, and then you look at, well, what's it going to be like in another 50 years? People are going to look at us and say we're primitive, right? And so, yeah, I think to get there, you got to innovate. You got to learn all the tools of the trade, and you got to, break away from the norm. And that's what I'm trying to do a little bit. I think that that's actually a lower motivation for me, is to like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I want my game engine to be like a commercial game engine. But I think I would like to maybe work on one of those sometime, right? Like maybe the skills that I learn from making my own game with my custom engine could transfer to someone else who I'm impressed by, and I can help them make a better game engine, right? There's a few that I've been following There's the Cherno making the Hazel engine. They're making this game engine in C++. I could help with that, or like, Jonathan Blow is making a new language and game engine. Things like that. If projects like that come up that I'm like passionate about, I would have the skills to be able to help out. That's probably like the minimum motivation there. So yeah, there we go. That's my take on that. What are your thoughts? What do you think, Night Owl? It sounds like you've done a Vulkan renderer. Have you made your own engine? You felt that way about Bevy for a while. Is it Bevy engine? All engine and game logic uses Bevy ECS. Okay. Nice. Data-driven game engine built in Rust. Free and open source forever. Nice. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like Godot. Godot is a C++ game engine. Like I could work on that. I don't feel confident right now, but maybe someday I could. You have made multiple smaller engines. Oh, here, let's pull this back. But never really used them to make games. I did it just for the experience. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely hoping to make a real game with these, because I think you learn a lot from actually like trying to finish a project. But that's cool. I mean, I'm quite jealous that you've gone into the Vulkan. Like literally, I learned about Handmade Hero in April. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm incapable of finding information on my own or like hearing about these things. It's like, I feel like I said, I was 9 years old and wanted to learn how to program. It took me so long to learn how to program that it was basically once I got into college that I first learned. I mean, of course, I had the project that the engine was for, but I always started from scratch again for the next one. Yeah. Well, and that's what I would probably do with this custom engine. Like if I were to make another game, I would just restart. But at least I would like be a lot faster the second time. That's something that Billy Basso talks about. I don't know if you know about Billy Basso, but he's also my hero. I'm a huge fan. Animal Well was such a fun game, and he was a Handmade Hero student. He followed the Handmade Hero course for 30 days is what he said, and then he broke off on his own and built it all from scratch. And he said that it was just no nonsense code. Everything in the engine was exactly for the game. Yep, he's the Animal Well dev. He said he's working on another game and that he just started the game engine over. He says there's no reason to like bring over extra code if it's not needed. So he will add code when it's needed. If he needs to copy it over, so be it. But yeah, everything will be like the minimum required to make the game, which I like. I think that's an awesome way to be. Yeah. So yeah, basically I'm inspired by a lot of people. However, I don't have a lot of time. You may have noticed this about me. I've got 2 kids. I've got a full-time job. I don't have a lot of time. And so I listen to these podcasts and I get really inspired, but I don't actually have a lot of progress to show for it. So I'm hoping to change that going forward. Bit by bit. The reason we have the bloated mess that is Unreal 5 is because they just kept going. Yeah, they don't start over. Yeah, that's a good point. They don't take their learnings and restart. And people are so scared about that. I run into this all the time in my professional development where people are very scared to do something from scratch or to write your own implementation of something that they could just get a library for. And that fear leads to bloat, because then you import a library just for one aspect of it and you've got the rest of the library there. And if you minify, like I'm an Android developer, so if you minify the library, then all of a sudden you've got crashes that weren't there before. And all of this just extra nonsense when you could probably have written that code yourself if you just understood it. Anyway, I gotta stop ranting. I mean, it's a lot of fun for me to rant about this kind of stuff. I'm clearly quite passionate, but also, again, I don't have a lot to show for it. I think people are scared of spending their precious time. I get that too, but time is a resource just like money, and it's meant to be spent. True, I like that. I've never heard it said that way. Time is a resource just like money, and it's meant to be spent. I like that a lot. Yeah. I definitely have always thought of money and time as separate. But it's like mana and health in a video game, right? You've got health as a resource and mana as a resource. They aren't connected. I can have it. Thanks. Right, like in a video game, you've got the double resources. Full-time job and a lot of time doesn't sound right to me. Or I'm in the wrong trade. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, they're like unrelated resources, right? People say time is money, but what they mean is time is another resource that you can spend. Ah, I like that. I like that. Win 32. Controller support. Switch. Well, I don't know. There was one more thing. Oh yeah, player movement. All right. So these are the things that I could potentially work on. Vulkan renderer. Oh, well, actually, DirectX is not one of those. Okay. I've also noticed an interesting pattern from working class heroes. Usually the more money you have, the less time you have. Yeah. Yep. I think that might not be a causation. It might be a correlation. Because, like, for example, for me, right, I have a lot more money now than when I started out. But I think that also it's 10 years since then, right? You have all the time right now. I'm rich on time, but I'm economically poor as a pig. Yeah, but then here's the thing, right? Like, by the time you're making more money, you're probably going to have, like, I mean, I'm not going to assume things, but, like, you're going to have, like, a wife and kids and a house and a yard. I don't know about Sweden and yards, but yeah, you got time in other things, right? Because that's just how life, yeah, not necessarily correlated, but yeah, definitely a pattern. Yeah. Yep, it's one of those things. I definitely wish when I'd had more time, I would have spent it on this, but instead I spent it on Minecraft. No, it's just how life goes, right? You can't look back too much. You got to look forward. All right, well, it is officially 8 a.m. here. And so I have not seen the guy who showed up in my chat last week and requested that I work on this. I still thank him. Mr. KMMM. But I think I'm just going to start working on one of these. I think the easiest one. So what's the game I'm going to make? Yeah. So that's kind of here. This is a little sneak peek. This is Link to the Past. So Zelda. The player movement will be Zelda. That's probably the first little bite that I'm going to give you. It will be a 2D game. Here, I'll just write it down here. So 2D pixel perfect game, by the way. It'll be a pixel perfect game, which should be a lot easier to achieve with a custom engine, by the way. Pixel perfect game, RPG, and what, so I'm working on it with my brother, and the way that we're gonna, you know, like our hook is, it's like Zelda plus Pokemon. That's just the way to think of it. It's not, it's obviously not just we take those two games and add them together. That's not what it's going to be, but that's our hook. And yeah, very excited to get working on it. Right now, I have a little, wait, where's my player? This. I've got like, you know, I've got a little player that I can move around. But it's clearly just coincidence that our hero is called Link as well. So yeah, I want to figure out how to get the player movement to feel like Zelda. So I could maybe do that first. That's probably the easiest thing. Although some of the other ones might be a lot more interesting. Actually, no. Vulkan render would probably be really boring to watch. We'll see. I'll maybe start this one on my own. And anyway. Do I have changes? So what would that be? 8 directional? No, it's actually simpler than that. Well, I guess it is 8. It's You haven't played Link to the Past in years? Yeah, let's look at it real quick. Link to the Past. I already looked this up, apparently. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna take that filter off of the Chrome audio real quick. Okay. So he can move in any direction, right? See, he's moving diagonal as well. But diagonal is tricky. Diagonal is tricky because, right, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I haven't done it yet, but like when you move diagonal 1 pixel, you're actually moving like 1.4, right? It's like, is that correct? It's 2, no, it's 1. I don't know the math. It's something with a square root of 2 in it. But if you move right, you're only moving 1 pixel. So I think it's like technically your position changes a lot faster in the diagonal. And so how do you do that in a pixel perfect game? Right? Like in a not like in a float game, right? Like when you're using floats for your position, you can just normalize it, right? So you're just operating on a circle of movement. but you can't do that in pixels. So I'll have to figure that out. Although I guess I could do it so that when you move, you're moving multiple pixels, right? So like, let's say when you move right, you move 3 pixels. And then when you move diagonal, you move just 2 pixels diagonal. Something like that would be like about the same. So anyway, I gotta figure that out. Would that be interesting enough to work on right now? Cao Shanghao, what's up? What's up? Hitting me with you gotta hit me with the Taiwanese. Where's your Taiwanese good morning? No, you gotta hit me with the gao za. Gao za. That's good morning. Yeah, how are you doing? How's life without the Taiwan work culture? Everyone at work just uses talent. Yeah, probably. Dude, my Git is being so stinking slow. We survive and so much better not working 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Yeah, we've got some issues right now with our Taiwan supplier at work. And our like head of devices is over there right now. And he's like, yeah, they work 9 6s, or sorry, 6 9s. So they work Monday through Saturday, 9 hours per day. It's crazy. Crazy. Nine a.m. to 8 p.m. That's so nuts. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have merge conflicts, aren't I? We engineering, that's very fun. Yeah, you actually missed my whole spiel. I just ranted for like an hour about making your own game engine. Swedish bones are itching from hearing those working hours. Yeah, Sweden's nice for work culture, right? I applied at Mojang or Mojang at one point. Obviously got rejected. I have very little credentials that would have let me get into that job, but yeah, they had a pretty interesting benefits list. That would have been nice. Oh yeah? Man, you got to teach me some Swedish phrases. I want to learn how to say just like something to impress people, you know? Like all I had was like hey hey and tack tack. That's all I used when I was there. Oh, no merge conflicts. Hallelujah. When we visited Stockholm with him, we went to a bike shop that had a sign that said closed for the summer. Then you realize work culture is better there. Yeah. That's a good start. You think my hey hey, you think that's good enough? I don't think I was impressing anyone. Oh boy. Sluta. That's exit, yeah. Or am I no, I'm thinking of something else. What's Suta? Uh Stop. Stop. That's what it is. Okay. Okay. I have some errors with my Git. Sun goes down at 3 p.m. from the end of October to the start of April. Suta, stop. Okay. Yeah, when I went to Sweden, we went up to Sundsvall, and that was brutal for my jet lag. Because the sun was up and at 'em at 3 a.m. That was rough. We had like 4 hours where it was dark. I don't know what's going on with my Git. Remote unpack failed. Abnormal exit. Yeah, my Git is just being so stinking slow. Let's see if I can make a new tab for it. The sun doesn't go down in the summers. Yeah. Yep. Although that's unfortunate. So the culture here where I live is, you know, September or like August is like prime time for night games because it's warm all day, but then the sun goes down early enough that you can play night games for a couple hours. You considered doing a PhD in Helsinki. Yeah, night games. Yeah, it probably would have been good where you grew up too, huh? You're a little bit north of here, right? So it probably got dark around the same time. Yeah, night games. A little bit of American culture here. Oh, crap. Stop. What? Yeah, I know where you grew up. Yeah, night games are just like epic. No, wouldn't where you grew up be like slightly north of where I am? Maybe I'm wrong. Here, I'm gonna look up a map real quick. Maybe I don't remember exactly where you grew up then. Oh no, it's definitely south. I'm just bad at geography. All right, my bad. But yeah. All right, so night games are basically just like really elaborate games of tag it in the dark. I think that's probably the best way to explain it. Senpai. Yeah. Dude, my Git is insane right now. What is going on? Yep, capture the flag goes hard in the dark. Yep. Yep. I was always I would always play defense, which is probably frowned upon. Yeah, I broke Git. Well, so here's the problem, right? I got way used to using Git with Linux because I have like all these fancy aliases for my Git. And they're not even that fancy. But yeah, I've got Git aliases for everything. And so I use WSL to manage my Git, and it's totally a problem. Mostly booze and cigarettes under the midnight sun. Nice. Do I have Git? In oh, I do have Git. Okay, so I could do this. Git status. Will it work? Wow, maybe it's just slow on Windows. What the heck? This project shouldn't be that big. Let's see. Can I see? I actually don't know enough about Vim. Let's see. Vim, see file sizes. Control G. Nope. Vim file explorer. Okay, there we go. So I gotta remember how to use Git without my aliases. All right, so we do Git push force origin / master. I think so. Nope. Permission denied. Oh yeah, because I don't have the SSH keys set up. And all right. Screw that. Let's just wait for this. Yeah, it's lame. All right. I'll just be done with that. So, yeah, let's learn some player movement. I think I'm just gonna delete a lot of this, or like comment it out. Maybe I'll do a little bit of let's see. Memory is initialized. Yeah, so let's do a little bit of this if 0 and if got ahead. Good luck, Lauban. Yep, you too. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so we got keyboard input and controller input. And let's get rid of the rest. We can use it for reference. But yeah, that's about it. I guess I'll render the player. Render player. Mouse X. We can get rid of this. What is this? Input mouse buttons. Oh, yeah. Okay, I don't need that. So, get rid of this. If 0. And if. And then now it should just be that. The player. Oh no, it's still working. What did I do wrong? Oh yeah, I didn't do an end if. Haha. And if. There we go. So now it's just the controller input, right? Oh, nope, the player is not. Oh yeah, I'm not reading controller input right now. Okay. So let's start over. If the input is analog and connected, then we move the player. Easy enough. But I'm going to do the left stick now. And then I'm also going to do the same thing for the keyboard. Except for I don't have left stick on the keyboard, do I? So maybe I do need to bring this in. But instead of the game state changing, it's the player X. Player X. Player X. Oh. Player Y. Player Y. All right. Where are we at? Okay, it's opposite. Well, actually, let's see. Because I don't have to close this anymore. I'm in the game code. So, oops. So it's up and down are opposite, left and right are opposite. So I just literally need to do this. Oh wait. All right, and then build. And then, oh my gosh. Why did that not do anything? Why would that not work? Save, build. Oh. There's a linker error. That's fine. It shouldn't be a problem. Oh, okay. It worked that time. Maybe the build just like didn't go. Okay. So yeah. There's the player moving with WASD. As you can see, it goes a lot faster diagonally because that's kind of just the problem that you run into. Am I snapping to pixels? I don't think I'm snapping to pixels. I haven't coded that, so that's what we got to work on. Render gradient boxes. I don't want to do this anymore. But what should I do instead? I think... yeah. So we're going to change this to just be like an all... Let's do an all black screen because dark mode. I actually don't know the correct way to do this. I'll put it to do. To do. Find the correct way to fill a whole buffer with one color. But yeah, I'm gonna just change this to be render black background. Actually, you know what? I'll just do a different function. I don't need to get rid of my reference code yet because this is all still debug code. Int, oh, I don't need the offsets. So we get this stuff and just basically for the height, there's the row. And then I just go pixel equals 0xff0000000. Like that. I think that's all I need. Then I don't need these. I think that should work. What res are you looking to render at? Good question. That one's still up for debate. I kind of like the idea of so actually our goal is GBA GBA resolution. 240 by 160. So we want to make a build for GBA. It's not going to be the core build. I think the core build I might do 640 by 360. I don't know. I haven't decided yet because we're trying to support so many platforms, you know, like it's gonna, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of decisions to make still, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Pop this into here and we'll do a render black background with the buffer. Oh wait, it's already that. Okay, so now if I build, it's a black background. I need to change the player to be white. There we go. There's our player. Ooh, oh, and I got to get rid of the debug things. Where is it? It's gonna be way down here, right? No. Yeah, this. I just need to change this to be if 0 because I don't want that. Yep, that should do it. And then I am going to have to rebuild it because this is the platform layer. There we go. Awesome. So now all I have is a black screen with a white box that's the player. Let's make the player, here, let's do a little define player, player sprite size. Well, let's do sprite X and we'll make it 16 so that we can try different player sprites. And go to render player. Player sprite Y. Player sprite X. Just like that. And that should make him 16 by 16. Woohoo! Okay. We got a player. Does he loop? No, he doesn't loop. Oh, he loops that way. Why does he loop that way? I don't really care. So now I want to think about the movement code a little bit. And in fact, maybe I should be splitting this out, but I'll just keep it here for now. So right now I'm moving 10 pixels per frame. Oh. 10 pixels per frame in both, right? So if I use the controller, what the heck just happened? My my terminal just crashed. I guess Git killed my terminal. Let's see if Git will be faster now that the process ended. Ah. Nice. Let's do player movement branch. Yeah, Git is much faster. It must have been hanging sometime, like somewhere in the background. Okay, well, Where were we? Yeah, so I'm moving 10 pixels. So if I were to move, yeah, let's do a define. Let's do another define. So player move X, and let's, am I in caps lock? What's going on here? Oh, I'm in Chinese. Okay, move X 16. So let's play around with these values. And then just right here. Yeah, let's just do %s 10 that replace with player move. Oh, I didn't need X or Y or anything. Yes, 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 yes. Because it's going to be the same. Rename. Oh, I can't rename this. Okay. Okay. Also, I actually dislike this. I think that it should just be plus. And when it's left, okay, yeah, that's fine. So I think I should go into the game code, the engine code, and change the way that that's being saved. I'll stick this thing. That was the X1. So this will be, if it's less than, do I just remove that? Let's find out. I gotta kill this again. Up, down, what? Oh. Why isn't it working? My player input isn't working right now. Why not? Is it not analog? Should be working. Have I set up a logger? Kind of. Not really. Like I have, I can use output debug string A to output logs if I want to. And then on my Mac version, I have actually added a logger to the game. I just haven't imported it in yet. Actually, no, I definitely haven't. Okay. All right, so set the stick state. Why is this not doing anything? Should be. Is it not plugged in? Let me unplug it and plug it back in. Okay, yeah, I'm player 1. That's weird. Did I get rid of that on accident down here? No. I'm gonna assume it's this. No, it's not that. Player move. Well, I'll have to look into that another time. I don't want to mess with it right now. So right now I'm moving essentially like every frame I move one player's width away, right? And so diagonal is obviously like way faster movement. But yeah, I wonder how you do that. I wonder what the best way is to set up player movement in this way. So basically my idea is, like I was showing here, that I could move, like when I'm going diagonal, so I have to detect diagonal movement maybe. Yeah, maybe instead of doing this, where I just directly add, I would detect all the states and then determine the value from that, right? So, I mean, should I just do 8 directions? Should I just do 8 directional movement? Let's see what, let's go back to the reference. Is it just 8 directional? Unfortunately, this guy just likes to dash everywhere, so it's kind of hard to tell. It might just be 8 directions. Plain and simple. Alright, I'm gonna go to before he gets the dash. Yeah, that's definitely just 8 directional movement. And then you can make some micro adjustments if you need to. Oh, wait, no, that looked kind of like... See, look at this. That seemed like kind of not 8 directions, right? Like that seemed kind of like it wasn't... That wasn't a direct 45 degrees, was it? But how would you achieve that on an NES? It doesn't have a joystick, did it? Just watching this dude torture a chicken. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's looking pretty 8 directional. Yeah, I don't think there's any way you could achieve anything less in a game like this. Yeah. But also, maybe I should just look up how to normalize. So let's see. Game normalize movement code in C++. Calculate the magnitude. So you divide by the magnitude. It's hard to see if Link is faster or slower diagonals. Well, that's the thing, is I can tell he's not, right? Like they've definitely normalized it. Right? Because like when I do my movement, it's very clearly faster. Right? Like it's pretty, I think it's pretty obvious. Maybe it's not so obvious on the stream. I can't tell. Like if I were to draw a circle, right? Let's draw the circle with my mouse. I'm just doing a little bit of this. Oh, actually, you know what I can do? I can do something cheeky here. Draw a circle. Well, let's do an actual circle. I can do this. So I've got this circle around my player. Oh, I don't have the controller movement though. If I had the controller movement, then I could do it. Dang it. I'm really sad that the controller's not working right now. All I did was remove the minus, right? 10F. Do I even need this? That's the next question. What? Okay. There's a warning. Unreferenced function has been removed. Indeed. I did remove that. Debug, sync display. I think this one as well. And this one. F0. There we go. Diagonal 1, like you said before, wouldn't allow for direct pixel snapping like the cardinal directions allow. Yeah, it's probably using integer positions, but it's probably just normalizing to like the closest match. That's my guess. But I've really just never done stuff like this, so it's all a learning experience for me. Where is my input failing though? What is it? Stick. That's what I'm looking for. If new stick state. Yeah, this is fine. Oh, that's a bug. That was a bug right there. Was that the bug? That's the question. Reminds me of the OG Zelda. Looks good, mate. What else have you made? I'm working on a Toys to Life patent. All a learning experience. At least you can code. Steve Martin. Welcome. Welcome. What else have I made? Sure, I'll do a little intro. I'm pretty much here at the end of my stream though, so unfortunately you're kind of catching the tail end. What else have I made? I made a game called Droppy Ball. It's a small little physics game. It's a clone of other games before it. The balls combine and you're just trying to get the highest score. That's it. Very simple first game. I released it. It's $1. You can go try it out. It's also on the Play Store for free right now. The next thing that I'm working on, let's see, I gotta pull this over. The next thing I'm working on is a game called Loop Cell. And this is a puzzle game, Sokoban style. Not really a true Sokoban, but the gimmick is that the walls loop. I worked on this for a game jam, obviously, and we are going to try and release it, the full game, eventually. Let's go to this one. So yeah, the walls loop, and then yeah, so you have to throw the hat to solve the puzzles, and it can go across the wall like that, and that's about it. Still under development. It looks a lot better now than it does in this little demo, which is saying something because this demo looks pretty good. Oh, Wakas. Physics games are not so much my jam, but I'll follow your profile. Hey, well, thanks. I appreciate it. Oh, Night Owl said something. I made a Space Invaders game in uni, and I used float positions and just rendered on integers like you suggested. Works just fine. Okay, interesting. So you use float positions, but you render on the integers. Cool. I will have to try that out. I don't know how to do that. Gonna be real. But, yep, we're learning. We're learning here. All right, let's see if I can get the controller movement working. Dang it. What is wrong with this controller? I swear it used to work. We sure are learning, lol. Yeah. Input is controllers 1. I haven't commented out that much, have I? Here, let's do... no. Can I do input 1 D right? Oh, D right dot ended down or... Gonna pop out early. Thanks for the stream. Yeah. Yep, I'll do this every Thursday. That's my new schedule. Monday through Wednesday will be Droppy Ball or Loop Cell game dev. Thursday will be custom engine game dev. And Friday, I will play games and learn how they do it. You'll definitely give Handmade series a go. Yeah, try it out. I am a big fan, obviously. Okay, let's see if this works for anything. Okay, so I can get the D-pad working. It's just the sticks that aren't working. What's the end goal for the engine? I'm making a game. It's a game that I've been planning with my brother for a very long time. This is all I'm saying about it right here. The goal is a 2D pixel perfect RPG. Think Zelda plus Pokemon, although that's just our hook. We're not obviously copying Zelda and Pokemon, but that's kind of the idea behind it. All right, let's do my little circle idea now. So if I do this around the player, I should be able to see how much faster it is on the diagonals. What? Oh, that's what happened. That's weird. I gotta unwrap this controller. Okay. So if I get it into the center, getting to the edge this way is a lot slower than this way. So that's why I need to normalize the movement. Interesting. Yeah. So I'll have to work on that. It's kind of where your head's at too. Yeah, you want to make a top-down RPG with a custom game engine. You said Toys to Life patent. Oh, you want to do a fantasy pet battler? Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that the market for it is there, right? Like, I think people have a lot of Pokemon fatigue, and people are sick of Nintendo legal battles. So I think, you know, like Pal World was very popular. I think people want to see a non-Nintendo Pokemon game. So definitely an interesting market. Could be really tricky, but I think people want it. So definitely try it out. But yeah, I think that's going to have to be it for me today. I'm going to just write a little note to do fix stick input, and then the next is going to be that I need to normalize movement. 8 directions? Not sure. More items or charms equipped on creatures. I don't know. But yeah, filing globally next week. Wow. Filing globally. Good luck. Holy. Wow. Wait, so you got to tell me more about this. You're filing a patent? Is this against, or sorry, you're filing it's not against anyone. You're filing a patent for Toys to Life. I don't know what you mean. You got to tell me more. Minis that have encryption. Wow. All right. Transport network. Okay, okay. I like it. That sounds interesting. Sounds interesting indeed. So you want to have a video game attached to the physical item as well? Is that kind of what's going on? MongoDB. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, items drop live. Cool. Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for showing up. Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta get to work. But yep, I do this every weekday at about 7:30 a.m. my time, Mountain Time. So there you go.